Hello, everyone, and welcome to the JustNabz podcast by Nabila and Nabil. Hello, Nabila. How are you?
Hi, I am Nabila. For those of you who follow me on social media, JustNabz on Twitter. It's what I'm known for.
Marvelous. So, first of all, let's start off with this. Who are you and who am I? Let's start with you. Who are you?
Who am I? That is a deep question. That is a very deep question. Okay, first of all, I am from South Africa. And you are?
I'm from
Italy.
Yeah, I'm from Florence, Italy. So, very different backgrounds, aren't they?
Very different personalities, but we are both F1 fans.
Yes, but again, I'm a Ferrari fan. You are what?
We will dive into this later. Of course, you are, coming from Italy. So I am also a football fan. Manchester United is my team, unfortunately or fortunately, whichever side of history you are on. I love animals, love animals. I'm working as well in sales and promotions at a radio station. So I'm kind of into this whole field of broadcasting and radio, media, branding. It's all my passion. And what about you?
Marvelous presentation. I'm 24. I'm from Italy. I'm a huge Ferrari and AC Milan fan. Although I do love Manchester United, I grew up with Sir Alex Ferguson, so how couldn't I? I'm an engineering student and I have an online magazine, which is Eccentrical, the same magazine that's powering and helping this podcast get out. So yeah,
I thought I was.
Oh, sorry,
I
don't
thought
get jealous.
we were riding.
Oh god, yeah. So I think that the two main things that we have in common, are other than the name, are F1 and football.
That was a huge coincidence. I did not go seeking out someone with the same name as me to start this podcast. I'm just putting it out there to start this.
Yeah, of course.
Let's get this straight and iron out the facts at the beginning.
Of course, but it just comes all together, isn't it? Doesn't it? I mean, I remember that it all started from an interaction from Twitter where I literally just looked at a meme, and I looked at the name of who posted it. And all I had to say is just nice name. That's it. Huge conversation with that. But from a common name, many things can come up.
That's me. Memes all day.
Well, that's
if
how
you
we
need a
look
meme,
at life.
you can come to me.
Yeah, but that's how we tell life nowadays. Politics, sports, life, everything is just memes, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Yes.
Yeah, many times I actually find myself thanking the god of memes because we have memes. I mean, many things, if we didn't have the internet or memes, for instance, they would be unbearable.
Without Ferrari memes, I think the tweet you responded to was a Ferrari meme, if I'm not mistaken.
Ferrari memes are...
That's my speciality.
I know, and Ferrari memes are just a bit painful to me because they are true and they are funny to some extent, but they are a bit painful because they are true as well. So But I think that Ferrari has been the joke around since the hybrid era. So I should have gotten used to it, but I cannot. I just can't.
But well, I'll give it to your man Vettel, who finished third on the podium
Yes,
today.
big day for him.
Oh no, wait, we can't say today because we're not releasing this today.
No. We are recording on a Sunday.
Okay.
It's okay. It's today because we are recording on a Sunday, of course. So yeah, big day for him. I feel again, rooting for Ferrari is just bittersweet. I feel very good for Seb because he deserves it. He deserves all the best. But at the same time, I feel bad for Charles because he got the podium out of a mistake made from Charles at the penultimate corner. So it's all just like that. Rooting for Ferrari is just bittersweet at every single point.
But on the plus side, Lewis Hamilton's won his 7th world title.
Yeah, congrats for
I
that.
am riding on that high right now.
I mean, he deserves it. He deserves it. Coming from
He does.
coming from a Schumacher fan, I could not think of anyone else to beat. I would rather have beating his records other than Lewis. I mean, he utterly deserves it. He's consistent. He's everything. Everything has been thrown at him, especially in the last 4 years. But yeah, he's resilient. He's had his highs and lows, especially with Nico Rosberg.
The biggest thing, look here, I was initially a Nico fan. And I transitioned after Nico left. It was very weird for me going from supporting a rival, Lewis's rival, to supporting him. It was a very random shift, and I am still confused about it to this day, but I don't think about it. However, what was I going to say?
Well, I mean, you don't have any choice. I mean, are you going to support Valtteri Bottas? I mean,
No.
he's had today has been his worst day in his career, I reckon.
He has been atrocious, and I didn't want to give up on Mercedes, so I was like, okay, cool, it is Lewis for me. But also, yes, I think he has mastered his demons. Looking at him from 2016 to now, he just seems in a better frame of mind. He's a lot calmer. He definitely meditates. I'm telling you now, meditation is powerful. I have tried it, and I'm in the process of trying it. It is something I would highly recommend. But yes, so someone was telling me, I was talking to a group of friends about Max Verstappen and how he just threw away his entire weekend. And for me, I think personally, I think it's a mental f up, because he just doesn't, he's not a calm driver. He needs to fight his demons in his head to get his driving in order, because he gets really hot-headed and he just drives recklessly. And Max Verstappen has the potential to be a phenomenal driver. It's just his mindset that's holding him back.
Well, on that note, I think that Max Verstappen is. I mean, I thank God for his hunger for wins. So when I saw him earlier spin behind Perez because he was on his tail and he had some dirty air going into turn 4, it was, or 5, I reckon. And seeing him spin, of course, it breaks my heart every single time, because he's driving the hell out of that Red Bull. And yes, he does have some demons, but if you compare this Max Verstappen to the Max Verstappen at the beginning of 2018, he's completely different. So I think that 2019 and 2020 have shown a very, very different Max Verstappen. And I do think that the Turkish GP now has just been a no day for Max rather than his usual performance being at this level. So I do think that he needs those demons because those demons are actually the engine fueling him. Lewis has been in a very calm state of mind in the last 2 years, especially because he's had a car with no competitor. When he had someone competing with
Come
him,
on.
no,
Bottas is a fair competitor.
who's
Note my
who's
sarcasm.
right?
Note.
Who is competing with Lewis Hamilton at the moment? Not even Valtteri Bottas, because if you take
Mm-mm.
Lewis Hamilton, just his points and the Red Bull points, Lewis Hamilton would have won the constructors championship and the drivers championship just on his own. So he's literally driving on another planet.
Definitely.
That helps him, of course, from a
Every time I
state of
watch,
mind
every time I
perspective.
watch Bottas, every time I watch Bottas race, I miss Nico Rosberg. I, I'm just like, wow.
I know. I do miss him dearly. But then again, why would Mercedes change Valtteri Bottas at the moment? They have no competitors, I was saying, so they can afford having Valtteri Bottas. Otherwise, they would have switched to George Russell, for instance, for next year. I think that George fairly deserves that uh, that Mercedes seat, and he would have had a year in 2021 to adapt to the team going into 2022, the big F1 revolution. So I'm gutted that George is still stuck at Williams.
For me, he hasn't really impressed me this season. I don't know. I don't dig too deep into technicalities with the sport, but this is something about him. He's a very sweet guy. Also, Ricardo's biggest fan. So he's fighting with me for that title. He has not
I mean,
impressed me.
if you take George Russell, he has never been beaten almost by any of his teammates. So he's had a very experienced teammate as Robert Kubica and Nicholas Latifi, who's a younger driver, and he has always outperformed his car. He literally drives with a car that is not. It's not Williams. It's not that car. It seems like there's some other step that he's unlocked out of that car, and I think that at the moment the best drivers for the future are fairly to say are Charles, Max, George, and Lando. I couldn't see anyone else.
I actually saw something very interesting today. All three drivers on the podium were the three drivers who drove in the last Turkish Grand Prix in 2011.
Yeah, you can say that experience
So
matters.
it was all the old boys.
It is, and yeah, I mean, after all, they have driven in that circuit for quite some time, and they know it more than anyone else. But I think that they emerge out of all of that based on experience, seeing on wet weather with wet weather. I think that if you see like Sebastian compared to Charles driving in wet conditions, he's just far better. Even if his car has been underperforming compared to Charles' car throughout the whole year. So I think that in these conditions, when car pace gets standardized between all drivers almost, the most experienced drivers come to life. And that has been Sebastian's day. I mean, he's fairly the driver of the day for me, and he's given me so much joy, to be fair, really.
I can imagine. I know. I'm thrilled for Lewis. I To be fair, I thought he was just going to make it back into the top 5, maybe. I was like, okay. And I saw him moving up. I was like, okay, this is going to happen.
Yeah,
He's going to win.
they have all been helped by Max spins, of course, because Max, when you go up the field, Max is the big rock you have to overtake and keep the position from, because it's not just a matter of overtaking Max. Max is going to bite back at some point. So Max spinning and getting out of all of that, getting himself out of all of that, I think that helped even mentally to some extent, all those coming up. So
The
they've been,
best part of this whole thing, the best part, is that Lewis Hamilton is a black man dominating a predominantly white sport. Historically, it's been dominated. For me, this is so satisfying, and I love it. And I love the awareness he raises and the issues he brings to light. And it's a topic for discussion. Like this is actually something, we are going to talk about in future episodes. We'll keep it light for today. Just enjoy the moment, enjoy this feeling before we go on to the serious stuff. But yeah, I love Lewis for that, for always speaking his mind, for being real and not really being influenced by so much by what people tell him not to do and what he can't do. Yeah, that's something I admire about him.
I completely agree. He's also been victim of blatant racism in F1, if you remember those
Definitely.
dreadful black faces. I reckon it was Spain, but I can't remember the year.
Was it Spain or it was the Dutch fans in Spain?
Maybe it was Dutch fans, but I'm fairly sure it was Spain. But regardless of the place, of course, it's not.
I was actually having an argument with someone on Twitter. You know what I do best: calling people out for their for their nonsense. So yeah, blackface, not something.
Not at all, and I can't stand with the excuses as some bring up, saying that even white drivers get booed or whistled at and everything. It's not just being booed, is it? It's
No.
blackface has a dreadful history, but I think that when Lewis gets on a podium with the arrest the cops who killed Breonna Taylor, or with the t-shirt, or with a t-shirt with end racism or Black Lives Matter, he actually brings out all these triggered people who have a chance in some way to get educated about why a blackface is bad, why there is a racial problem in the US. And so I think bringing out the nonsense is actually good because people can get educated about it.
Yes, that's the best part. It's an educational. There's an educational factor to it. So people who don't know why blackface is wrong, or why you don't call people of different races different things, they're now waking up to why these words and terms are dehumanizing, and why people of color and black people get upset when you call them these names. Yeah, I wish when I was in school there was this awakening, because there was definite racism in schools when I was in school, but we never knew it was racism, or it made us uncomfortable, but you don't know how to deal with it. And I think kids these days have more resources at their hands. They have more educational resources to help them deal with these things, more people they can look up to, or more people they can go to for help, whereas we just kind of sat back and took it, and it just made us uncomfortable, and we're like, okay, but now what do I do with this? Like, I can't tell a teacher, because what are they going to do about it? Well, for me personally, that was my experience. Well, I don't know about you and in your schools.
Well, I have to say that there has been so much racism, not at school, to be fair. I think that here in Italy we have a bad environment, especially because I've played football throughout my whole life, up until five
Oh,
to
do you
six
still
years
play?
ago. No, no, I stopped. I stopped not because I was not good at it. I was good at it, but I fell in love with tennis, so I switched to tennis rather.
Oh,
Yeah,
interesting.
yeah, but in that environment, in that football environment, I've witnessed and been the victim of so much racism, and that reflects in episodes of racism in
And
stadiums here in Italy.
you said your parents are from,
Morocco. Yeah, that's why. I'm not
so
purely
that's why.
Italian. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, my
And
parents are from Morocco.
I mean, if people follow you on social media, you can see you do not look.
I know. That's why I have not
You
been made
look
fun of. I know because
Italian.
I know because I have not been made fun of because of my skin color, but rather from my parents' origins, which is as much pointless. Um, but yeah, as I was saying, the worst environment was in that football environment growing up, and you can see those behaviors reflecting on episodes of racism in stadiums
Yes,
nowadays.
yes.
When fans go on, yeah, that comes from when we're just children, just playing football together, and some children get harassed by others just because they have a different name or a different tone of color on their skin. So I think it's a deeply rooted
Mm.
problem here in
I'm
Italy.
all over the
Um,
world. And I think it's not something that's going to be fixed overnight, but where we're starting now
yeah,
with educating the next generation, we can definitely start rectifying the mistakes of the past. I mean, I was born, I'm not even that old. I'm not that old. Um, but I mean, my parents grew up in apartheid. They experienced apartheid, and that's what, just under 30 years ago. So
hmm,
it's not old. We think, oh, racism, it's like, cotton picking days, and it was our great great great
hmm,
great great grandparents, but actually it was our parents, our grandparents, great grandparents that were living through these times. Yeah, it's scary,
yeah,
but I feel like educating people are important, and hopefully in this podcast we can get in touch with, we can share our experiences and get guests to share their experiences, and some of our followers, if they want to get involved, tweet at us.
of
Mine's,
course.
I mean, JustNabz. Drop me a tweet if you want to get your message across, and you can tweet Nabil.
Yeah. It's at Zuer Nabil. You're going to find me on social media anyway. But getting back to Lewis,
The handsome Italian man.
I'm very happy. Yeah. um, I'm I'm really happy that Lewis, at some extent, is inspiring young uh black
Mm.
kids to do more, to always believe in themselves and get on and get out and try everything they can in order to achieve their dreams, because they can do it. Every single kid can do it nowadays. So yeah, I'm really happy about that. The message is sending, and we all have to do our best to educate people on important matters and get educated ourselves, because we don't know everything. We always
And
have to learn.
when you mention educating ourselves, please, please do not leech off Black people to be your, your personal library book. Go out there, read books. James Baldwin is good. Maya Angelou. Find resources, find YouTube videos. There's a lot that educated Black and brown folk have put out there. So use it, read it. And if you have any further questions, if you want to know people's experiences and they're willing to share it with you, ask them. But don't rely on Black people to be your book, your walking book, because they're not. They also fatigued from this. I mean, it's a generational thing. It's past, colonialism has been passed down, and generational trauma, and it's tiring. And so, guys, come on, pick up a book, go to YouTube, listen to podcasts like this one.
Listen to JustNabz.
Plug it.
Wow, great day actually, and yeah, I really hope that this is a new beginning, from a sports point of view for Ferrari, in order to get back up in the grid.
I would like to see them fighting Mercedes again. I really do.
Yeah, you always say that until we're on your tail, and then, oh, please, Ferrari, blow up or something.
No, I'm not violent. I am not violent. Let me.
No, of course. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, if you look at it, I mean, Mercedes has been dominating this hybrid era, but the only team who has been able to put up with them constantly is Ferrari. Ferrari is the only team who has had a chance of winning the title besides Mercedes in the hybrid era.
Sure.
They threw it in 2018 when they brought some bad updates in Singapore.
That was
the
best day of that season for me. I was so happy.
Wow, no, not for me. And they just effed it in 2017 as well, when they didn't have a proper engine to run. So I think that Ferrari is still the biggest team in history, and they are going to prove it.
Speaking of which, with Marc Marquez out, did you watch the MotoGP race today? I missed it.
Yeah. Franco Morbidelli, an Italian guy, of course. Italy brought up high in the world, but funnily enough, I was not rooting for him. I was actually rooting for the second driver to cross the line, Jack Miller, on that Pramac Ducati. He's my favorite driver. He literally gives me so many good vibes seeing him driving. It's just great. He sends that bike in every single turn, and a beautiful final lap. So if any of you have the chance to have a look at that final lap, do it, because it's one of the best final laps I've ever seen in MotoGP.
I was rooting for Brad Binder this season. South Africa represent. I am so proud of him, actually racing in MotoGP. It's not very often that you see South Africans climbing the ranks into top leagues in motorsport. So I am very excited to see what Brad can do. I was watching his documentary the other day. Him and his brother are such typical South African oaks, as we say in South Africa, oaks. It means guys. Guys. Like the way they speak and everything, I was like, wow, so South African. But it was interesting to see his journey, how he had to leave everything in this country and move, and how he moved up the ranks. So give it a watch. I think it's on Red Bull's website. Yeah. Very cool.
Wow. I think that Italy is very well represented in MotoGP.
In any sport.
Many Italian drivers. Yeah, of course, but I mean, in if you look at F1, there are not many great Italian
You mean to
drivers, for
say
instance.
Antonio Giovinazzi is not great?
Oh, well, he's a nice lad. He's a nice lad, but he's hardly one of the top drivers, let's say.
Pretty boy.
But yeah, I mean that in Formula One, any Italian teams have always been very good at their job. Um, but in MotoGP, they provide the drivers. I think that Italy provides the drivers in MotoGP, and in Formula One, furthermore, it's not just the best team. If you look at Ferrari, it's pure Italian stuff because we can now. Why is the SF1000 the
You
worst
are on
car
your
in
Italian
history?
agenda this tonight. You are on your.
I know, but it's because I feel for Ferrari because we can excuse bad aerodynamics, but we can't excuse a bad engine. So that's what hurts the most, and I really hope that next year's engine is going to be any better than this. I
I
really
hope
hope
so
so.
too. Just so we have competition at Mercedes, and
Okay.
I still want Lewis to get his 8th, and then I don't mind who wins races after that.
Do you think he's going to get eighth
I
next
believe
year?
he is going to get his 8th.
He still has to sign the contract.
He
though.
is going to sign the contract. He is going to sign it. I mean, from his interview with Mark Webber today, where he mentioned that he wants to, achieve all these things with Mercedes, creating more awareness to the issues in the countries that F1 races in. It sounded like, the contract was just a matter of putting pen to paper, but it sounded like a done deal to me. So I don't have any doubt that he is going to sign. But this comment might backfire in a week or so later when he announces his retirement. But we'll see. We'll see.
I don't think he's going to win the 8th.
He said he was. He said he was just getting started.
Oh, okay. Yes, of course, fair from him to say, but I think that next year is not going to be for Lewis. Mercedes are still going to win the constructors championship, but Lewis is not going to win next year. I just have this feeling. Red Bull are on a charge, and Honda it's its last year in F1, and if they actually freeze the engines from 2022 on, I think they are going to do a massive job to leave Red Bull with the best engine they can.
Even if he doesn't do it next year, he still has the following year to do it. So it's either next year.
Yeah, 2022. Yeah, 2022 is quite a random card at the moment.
Hoping for a better year for my boy Daniel at McLaren. Have a better year. He has had shocking races in the past few years, 2-3 years now. He has his extreme highs and then it falls flat. And I'm just like, this is a roller coaster of emotions. Being a Daniel Ricciardo fan, he keeps us entertained though. He makes up for it. He keeps us entertained.
Of course, he's actually a good guy, and many people just see him for his banter, his jokes, and everything. But he's actually a very fast driver. He's really fast. He's one of the top drivers in F1 right now, and he's very consistent. So the mistakes he makes, 99% of the time, are due to his car, to his package, which is not up to it. So McLaren have proved that they can deliver a good package. Even better than Reynolds. So I really think that Ricciardo next year is going to be good. And actually, you know what? His last name is spelled Ricciardo rather than
Italian.
Riccardo.
His family.
Yeah, his last name is Italian.
The Italian
So
agenda.
let's start this trend. Of course, let's start this trend calling him Ricciardo rather than Ricardo, which
he
is
did
nowhere
say in an
near.
interview that that's how you say his surname, but when he moved, or somewhere along the line, it was just easier for people to say Ricardo. But also, this is what I feel with foreign names. If English people can't say your name, they change it to suit their palate.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, no. This stops now. Okay. I think, okay, I'm a hypocrite because I also say Ricardo. But, let's try our hand at... Say it.
Maybe we can...
I'm not very good at it.
Ricciardo.
Ricciardo.
Yeah, marvelous.
The only thing I can say in Italian is ciao. Ciao. Grazie.
Well, that's more than 50% that you need for a random conversation.
You can teach me some Italian.
We'll do. We can start a new podcast for
we can be a multilingual podcast. You can throw in some Afrikaans.
That would be pure chaos.
And no, you don't want to learn Afrikaans. It is not very easy or nice. Although it was, Afrikaans accents were voted the sexiest accents in the world a couple years ago.
Wow.
I mean, even Afrikaans people were shocked. It was shocking. But yes, we can look at making this multilingual. I have been learning Spanish on Duolingo, so we can throw in some gracias.
I cannot put up with Duolingo's notifications. They bring me anxiety.
I cannot avoid the notifications to the point where I am now on a 225-day streak because I feel bad for missing my lessons.
I would just be missing it because those notifications, I mean, I got them twice and it felt like I was having some stalker behind my back.
I was like, okay, at 100 days, I'm going to stop this. It's enough. I'll do it in my own time. And then they just kept sending me more notifications. I'm like, okay, I'm coming to do my lessons. And then they threatened to drop my leagues. Like, you're going to drop from the Amethyst League to the Silver League. And I'm like, no, I don't want to be demoted. I just want to stay in my league. And so it's, I'm hooked. And now I'm just Duolingoing every day.
Wow, I didn't think that the model actually worked.
It does. And I was coming from an advertising and marketing background, you'd think that I wouldn't fall for these trickeries, but I'm a sucker for it.
No, I can see why. I'm just quite the opposite. When I got that first notification saying, I can't remember even what, but it was quite predatory and it was harassing. I think
I officially have Stockholm syndrome, so I can't even bring myself to delete the app either. It's bad. But when I'm fluent in Spanish, I think it will pay off one day.
One day maybe. You can thank your kidnapper.
The little creepy owl.
Wow. Yeah, it brings me chills, to be fair. I have nightmares of Duolingo.
And now you can buy him outfits and stuff.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. 2020. Well. I think it's been a very fun chat. We shall get.
We said 30 minutes,
week.
But it's gone on a bit longer. But if you're still listening, that means if people are still listening now, they've enjoyed it. And
no, if people are still listening now, whoever's still listening now is an intelligent person. All those who dropped by and went and just dropped the podcast at 20 minutes are just Yeah, I
I
mean,
think
they're
most people
bad
would have
people. Do
dropped
not
off when
talk
you
to them.
mentioned Italian for the 50th time. They were like, okay, this is Italian propaganda now.
Might be, it
Ciao,
might be, it
bye.
might be, yes. You're right. Oh, we'll try to make it easier for you to listen
I am
next
going
time.
to
We
bring in
promise.
my South African agenda next time. Um, promote.
Yeah, you're welcome. No, actually, big things we have to talk about next week. We're not going to spoil anything, but
Yes.
big things. So, yeah, you should tune in next week, same time, same day.
Okay, and yes, if you're still listening. Um, we were speaking about the documentary, Brad's documentary earlier. What have you been watching?
Oh, this week, yes, I have been watching actually, yeah, I'm quite late, but I've been watching, how is it called? That famous Netflix TV. Oh,
Oh,
Tiger
I
King.
now.
Yeah, now. Yeah, because I have this thing that when things are famous, I cannot get on with it, with them.
That
So
was
I
a
just
whole
drop them.
lifetime
And
ago. I feel like it wasn't even in this. It was at the
no,
beginning of
it was,
lockdown, like initial lockdown.
yeah,
Are
it
you
was.
are you still in
It
lockdown?
was. Yes, we have just today, actually, Sunday, we have just got back in lockdown here in Italy,
Well, South
basically.
Africa has now opened its international borders, or be opening our borders soon. So, you know,
Yeah, I might be moving to South Africa for the time being.
yeah. No, I have not been listen. I mean, I haven't been watching anything besides Brad's thing. That was the last thing I watched. But I have been listening on repeat to the song by this incredible artist. Her name is Dunia. She's Moroccan. Like, yeah, so
Yeah, I
you
know
know
her.
her.
Thank you.
I
Yeah, of course I
love
do.
her voice. It's beautiful. But her song Hayati, I I love it.
Uh-huh.
I think I've listened to it about 60 times a
Yeah,
day.
you should also check out the lyrics. It's a very well written song and it's so
Which song?
romantical. Yeah,
Yes.
Hayati. And yeah,
That's the one
it's just look
I've
at
been reading the lyrics as well.
yeah,
My
yeah.
name is Arabic, but people ask me, oh, so do you speak Arabic? Especially when I travel overseas. Oh, you speak Arabic? I'm like, I cannot speak, but I do understand some words.
Yeah.
I can't. My
I'm
thing confuses a lot of people overseas because I have an Arabic name, but Indian origin, but I'm from South Africa. So people are like, okay, but where are you originally from? I'm like, South Africa.
yeah. Just
Yeah. So
confused.
anyway, so
Yeah.
Dunya, artist on my radar for this week. Love her stuff, love her energy. She's very inspirational as well. Yeah. So that's my. I mean, if you want my playlist, or if you want me to share my playlist, I will happily do so on my socials at JustNabz on Twitter. That's where I spend most of my time.
Oh. Yeah. As for me, I'm a huge Stormzy fan, and Stormzy has just been featured in the game Watch Dogs, the new Watch Dogs, and so he did this music video for Watch Dogs, and it just fueled me to go back to his entire music history, and I've been listening non-stop to
Yes,
all his songs.
definite goodie.
So it's
Oh,
just
yes,
Stormzy for me.
love him, love him, love him. And his beef with Wiley was iconic.
Yeah, that
That
was
was
peak.
that was a
Yeah.
funny time. But I mean, his clapbacks were so spot on. I was just like, yes, oh, that hits a sore spot. It's like, oh, I even felt the hurt from that one, boy.
I know those are big. I
AJ
mean,
Tracy
big
as
tracks.
well. Love him, love his work.
Yeah, yeah. It's great. We have great taste, so stick around for even
More
better music going
recommendations.
on and better yeah, exactly. So yeah, let us wrap this up. Thank you for listening, everyone. Thank you for tuning in, and thank you for listening up until this moment. Have a great week. Have a great weekend. Stay safe, of course.
Wear
We shall
mask.
say
Wear mask. I finished the
exactly.
sentence.
Wear a
Wear
mask.
mask, sanitize, wash your hands for 20
Yes,
seconds.
exactly. It doesn't take long. Just do it, and we will get back at concerts, Formula One Grand Prix, and everything next year. We hope, but let us all do our part. So have a very fun time, and see you next
Bye.
week. The JustNabz podcast is brought to you by Eccentrical Magazine, which you can find at eccentricalmag.com. Eccentrical is an amazing place where young people come and share their ideas and try to shape the media of the future. You're free to join us. Contact us using readers@eccentricalmag.com. Until next week, stay safe.